A very good day to you as we welcome you to Leaders or Readers. This is your host, Doc Ant, and with me, my co host, Daniel van Zel. And as you guys know, speaking on the book, Og Mandino, The Greatest Miracle in the World. Tonight, we're doing part two of the God Memorandum, which is chapter 9. So get out your book, get out your pen, take notes as we take you through the next 8 minutes of part two of the God Memorandum. Listen in.
Let us take inventory. Let us first call a roll of your handicaps, for how can he ask you to build a new life lest you have the tools? Are you blind? Does the sun rise and fall without your witness? No. You can see, and the 100 million receptors he's placed in your eyes enable you to enjoy the magic of a leaf, a snowflake, a pond, an eagle, a child, a cloud, a star, a rose, a rainbow, and the look of love. Count one blessing. Are you deaf? Can a baby laugh or cry without your attention? No, you can hear, and the 24,000 fibers he has built in each of your ears vibrate to the wind in the trees, the tides on the rocks, the majesty of an opera, a robin's plea, children at play, and the words I love you. Count another blessing. Are you mute? Do your lips move and bring forth only spittle? No, you can speak, and as no other of his creation, and your words can calm the angry, uplift the despondent, goad the quitter, cheer the unhappy, warm the lonely, praise the worthy, encourage the defeated, teach the ignorant, and say, I love you. Count another blessing. Are you paralyzed? Does your helpless form despoil the land? No, you can move. You're not a tree condemned to a small plot while the wind and world abuses you. You can stretch and run and dance and work, for within you he has designed 500 muscles, 200 bones, and 7 miles of nerve fiber, all synchronized by God to do your bidding. Count another blessing. Are you unloved and unloving? Does loneliness engulf you night and day? No, no more. For now you know love's secret, that to receive love, it must be given with no thought of its return. To love for fulfillment, satisfaction, or pride is no love. Love is a gift on which no return is demanded. Now you know that to love unselfishly is its own reward. And even should love not be returned, it is not lost, for love not reciprocated will flow back to you and soften and purify your heart. Count another blessing. Count twice. Is your heart stricken? Does it leak and strain to maintain your life? No, your heart is strong. Touch your chest and feel its rhythm, pulsating, hour after hour, day and night, 36 million beats each year, year after year, asleep or awake, pumping your blood through more than 60,000 miles of veins, arteries, and tubing, pumping more than 600,000 gallons each year. Man has never created such a machine. Count another blessing. Are you diseased of skin? Do people turn in horror when you approach? No. Your skin is clear and a marvel of creation, needing only that you tend it with soap and oil and brush and care. In time, all steels will tarnish and rust, but not your skin. Eventually, the strongest of metals will wear with use, but not that layer that he has constructed around you. Constantly, it renews itself. Old cells replaced by new, just as the old you is now replaced by the new. Count another blessing. Are your lungs befouled? Does your breath of life struggle to enter your body? No, your portals of life support you even in the vilest of environments of your own making, and they labor always to filter life-giving oxygen through 600 million pockets of folded flesh while they rid your body of gaseous wastes. Count another blessing. Is your blood poisoned? Is it diluted with water and pus? No. Within your 5 quarts of blood are 22 trillion blood cells, and within each cell are millions of molecules, and within each molecule is an atom oscillating at more than 10 million times each second. Each second, 2 million of your blood cells die to be replaced by 2 million more, in a resurrection that has continued since your first birth. As it has always been inside, so now it is on your outside. Count another blessing. Are you feeble of mind? Can you no longer think for yourself? No. Your brain is the most complex structure in the universe. I know. Within its 3 pounds are 13 billion nerve cells, more than 3 times as many cells as there are people on your earth, to help you file away every perception, every sound, every taste, every smell, every action you have experienced since the day of your birth. He has implanted within your cells more than 1,000 billion protein molecules. Every incident in your life is there, waiting only your recall. And to assist your brain in the control of your body, he has dispersed throughout your form 4 million pain-sensitive structures, 500,000 touch detectors, and more than 200,000 temperature detectors. No nation's gold is better protected than you. None of your ancient wonders are greater than you. You are his finest creation. Within you is enough atomic energy to destroy any of the world's cities and rebuild it. Are you poor? Is there no gold or silver in your purse? No, you are rich. Together we've just counted your wealth. Study the list. Count them again. Tally your assets. Why have you betrayed yourself? Why have you cried that all the blessings of humanity were removed from you? Why did you deceive yourself that you were powerless to change your life? Are you without talent, senses, abilities, pleasures, instincts, sensations, and pride? Are you without hope? Why do you cringe in the shadows, a giant defeated, awaiting only sympathetic transport into the welcome void and dampness of the grave? You have so much. Your blessings overflow your cup, and you have been unmindful of them, like a child spoiled in luxury, since he's bestowed them upon you with generosity and regularity. Answer me. Answer yourself. What rich man, old and sick and feeble and helpless, would not exchange all the gold in his vault for the blessings you've treated so lightly? Know, then, the first secret of happiness and success that you possess, even now, every blessing necessary to achieve great glory. They are your treasure, your tools with which to build, starting today, the foundation for a new and better life. Therefore, I say unto you, count your blessings, and know that you already are his greatest creation. This is the first law you must obey in order to perform the greatest miracle in the world, the return of your humanity from the living death. And be grateful for your lessons learned in poverty, for he is not poor who has little, only he that desires much. And true security lies not in the things one has, but in the things one can do without. Where are the handicaps that produced your failure? They existed only in your mind. Count your blessings.
Wow. But Daniel, that is an absolute mouthful, and what an astounding passage tonight. In this number 2, it's just absolutely amazing. So when you and I now go and we start tonight, in the people who are following the books, it's on page 93. It's sort of a 13, and it starts with, let us take inventory. So Daniel, what is God saying to us? What is he taking inventory of? Where are we going with this tonight?
It's also so interesting that was come back to take inventory, and inventory is literally I think is something that we normally don't do. We always complain and moan about things in life, but we never take, as the author said, inventory. in order to see, well, yes, there's one or two bad things, but there's a gazillion good things that happen to us. But we tend on focusing on only the bad things instead of the good things or the greatness that we've got and all the great things that we have. And that's what we're basically gonna discuss now, is taking the inventory and see, okay, what do we have? Where do we start? If we've got a clean slate in life, what do we already possess in order to achieve the greatness or becoming the greatest miracle in the world? And that is what, and I think we're going to, that this passage that we listen to now is literally discussing, is we're looking at all the good stuff that we already have, but we don't take inventory of it. We don't look at it like, well, we've got sight, we've got feeling, we can hear, and we don't take that as blessings. We don't count it.
So in a sense, we're taking stock of ourselves. We're going to actually take stock of who we are tonight. And that's why it starts with the first question. Are you blind? Does the sun rise and fall without your witness? No, you can see. I mean, if you think about it, the eyes is the gate through which we perceive life and everything that we see. So often people are seeing, but they're not even looking. You know, it's just like life passes them by, but they're not really crystallizing that which is in front of them. In other words, people don't focus what their eyes are being set on. Isn't that part of the problem?
That's 100%. Yes, you basically is what you observe, but you don't see.
It's true. You know, I think of in the mornings when I go for my jog and I meditate on God's words to me, and it says, I've placed you in your eyes, and you're able to enjoy the magic of a leaf, a snowflake, a pond, an eagle, a child, a cloud, a star, a rose, a rainbow. And I look at those things, and every time when I run past that pond and I see the beautiful swans, I go like, I'm reminded of the pond. I look for the eagles because I'm expecting an eagle in flight. And the thing is, we see things on a regular basis, and the thing is, do we really see them and appreciate them? I think we often miss that which is right in front of our eyes. And he says about the look of love. You know, I'll just think of a parent. You know, I wanted the approval of my father. And if he just looked at me with that look of love, nothing else mattered. Because you know that your dad is looking at you and he doesn't have to say it.
Exactly.
Just that look of love. And then he ends and says, count your blessing. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I counted a blessing today that we are not blind. We can actually see.
Yeah.
Take us through the next one, Daniel.
Then he says, are you deaf? Can a baby laugh and cry without your attention? No, you can hear.
And then he proceeds and he actually says of how this hearing system is built up, and he speaks about 24,000 fibers in each of the ears to vibrate like the wind in the trees. And I was like, stop it. I've never realized that there were 24,000 fibers in my ear. Never. I mean, so the one thing that this book has done for me is highlighted the significance of hearing in terms of how it was constructed. You know, we take it for granted. What about the people who cannot hear? People that have to speak sign language. And I bet you that they say, if only for one day, just one day, they can hear the sounds. If for one day they can hear the cry of a child, if one day they can hear the squawk of an eagle. But you see, we take it for granted. And the thing is, it's there. So what are the other kind of things that we'd listen to if we use our hearing?
They also say about vibrate, and the wind in the trees, the tides on the rocks. I mean, I love listening to the sea. I was there on Saturday again at the sea, and it's lovely to hear the sea, the wave crashing against the rocks. It's such a soothing sound. And I think, you know, sometimes we take it for granted, as you say. Even it says in the opera, the majesty of an opera, a robin's plea, children at play. Sometimes you listen to a little bird sing in the morning or in a day when you walk. It's just that calming. Yeah, it's just this calming feeling. It's like relaxing you. It's like, and sometimes we take that as a given, but it's a miracle. I mean, how does it happen? We don't know, but we're blessed with it. It's a blessing to us.
But then he writes that three little words there: a child at play, and the words,
I love you.
you. Oh, Daniel, you know how that impacted me? Just those words, I love you. The fact that we can hear when anybody says, I love you,
Yeah.
count that a blessing. So not only is it the fact that we can see, not only is the fact that we can hear, but we need to count those as blessings. I not
Amen.
just I'm listening with a different mindset tonight in terms of this is God communicating to us. He's saying to us, I want you, Daniel, to know you can see. I want you to know, Daniel, you can hear. And because of that, when it came to the sight, it says the look of love. When it came to your ears, it says the words, I love you. You know, God is a God of love. And I think what is wrong is that we don't always realize how
Yeah.
much we are loved. You know, it's not
Yeah.
who we are, it's about whose we are.
Yeah.
That's just
Wow.
the
Okay.
critical factor. Okay, I'll take the next one. And then he asks, are
Yeah.
you mute? Do your lips move and bring forth only spittle? No, you can speak, as can no other of my creatures. And I went, stop. No one of my other creatures can speak. We
Yeah.
might have a parrot that can say a sentence or two, but we can actually speak. We can put sentences together. We can construct, and we have an ability to speak. And what does it sound like, Daniel, if you take us through the practical side of it?
As you can another my creatures, and your words can calm the angry, uplift the despondent, goad the quitters, and cheer the unhappy, warm the lonely, praise the worthy, encourage the defeated, teach the ignorant, and I say, I love you. Count another blessing. Once
Wow.
again, back to that, I
Wow.
love you one.
You know what stands out there for me is praise the worthy. You know,
Yes.
so many things are worthy of being praised. Like, for instance, a wife that cooks on a daily basis without even complaining about it and make sure that her husband and her family are fed on a daily basis. And what I get here is, you know, you're not mute. You need to say thank you. You need to appreciate, because that praise of you are worthy makes such a big difference.
Yes.
One of the biggest problems that we spoke about last time is the lack of self-worth that people have.
Yeah.
And that is a true problem. But here, praise the worthy. So the more people tell you, Daniel, thank you for being a great communicator. Thank you for being a good friend. Thank you for being there for me. Whether I call you at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're always there for me. And I say that to you today, Daniel, on public airwaves. Thank you for being there, even if I call you at 4 o'clock in the morning, because you're a good friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Pleasure. Same for you.
So now we know that count another blessing. That is that we're not mute. Take the next one, Daniel.
Just before we go on, if you look at all these things, all of them fit into each other, because you need your ears to hear you speak. You need your eyes to see when somebody speaks to you, even if you can't hear them.
Yeah.
So all of this fits into one thing, as you can see later on as well. Everything fits in together. One steps on top of the other, top of the other, and top of the other. If you look at it.
Thank you for showing that to me. You know, because for myself, being an artist, I know that when I paint, I apply a color and then I apply another color, and that actually brings a depth into it. And so
yes,
it sort of builds from the foundation. It builds into,
exactly.
It's like builds a rainbow because of the one color on top of the other color. Thank you
first you see, then you hear, then you can speak.
Wow. Okay. No, that is nice. That is nice. Good one. Take the next one first.
Are you paralyzed? Do your helpless form despoil the land? No, you can move. You are not a tree condemned to a small plot while the wind and world abuses you.
That is true. And if a tree in the wind just has to bend with the wind, and does too. But you and I are not paralyzed. We've got the choice to move. And he says, you know, you can stretch, you can run, you can dance, you can work. For I've designed within you 500 muscles, 200 bones, and 7 miles of nerve fiber, all synchronized by me to do your bidding. Now, just think about that. Can I just mention those 3 things? What is it? The first one is 500 muscles. Do you know the
muscles?
Did you even know that your body has got 500 muscles?
No, I know about a few, and it's like this one and that one, and that's about.
And some of us don't even use this muscle, the brain
exactly.
Muscle. And then he speaks about 100 bones. I mean, I never knew there's 100 bones. I just know that when
Wow,
somebody falls off a bike and they broke 19 ribs, and I'm like, okay, wow. But they out of
that's a lot.
100, that's not even
Yeah,
20% yet. And then he speaks about 7 miles of nerve fiber, all synchronized. That
that's a
that
lot.
that sort of ministers to me
That
in
goes
terms of
that message goes a distance.
it does. I mean, 7 miles. And then obviously you will say, count another blessing. So we now already have had 4 blessings: the one of sight, the one
Yeah,
of we can hear, the one of that we can speak. Uh,
speak. Yeah.
that's right. And now the thing is that
Just
we're
just
not
to come back
paralyzed.
to that
Yeah.
thing what he says about the tree, my mentor always told me is like, and it's sort of like a tongue in the cheek way of saying it is like when you're in a situation or a place you don't like it or you don't like the situation that you're in. He
Hmm.
says like, well, Daniel, you're not a tree. You can move. You're not planted somewhere. You're not a tree. You can move. We've got the ability
Absolutely.
to move from where we are.
And that is so true. So those 4 all have to do with the body. The next one I'll take.
Yeah,
Are you unloved or unloving? Does loneliness engulf you night and day? No, no more. For now you know love's secret, that to receive love, it must be given with no thought of it in return. Wow. Which
yeah,
means, if we're honest, we have become so self centered that we always want to receive love and we want others to love us. But
yeah,
here says the true nature of love is you're either unloved or you're loving. And that is
yeah,
that you will give it without even people asking for it. And don't expect something in return. I think
yeah.
a lot of us fail the test. We expect things to come back to us. We want to give,
Exactly.
but we
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
receive.
yeah.
Okay. What else do you
But
see
that's
in?
that's the mindset we taught. You know, you need to give, and that we've been trained that. I mean, you give your time to at the work, and you get paid for it. So it's that giving, and then I need to get back. So
Correct.
that mentality that's been taught.
That is just crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you see there in terms of are you unloved or unloving? What else do you take out of that?
That little piece is like love is that thing about giving the love is it's easy to give love, but it's harder to not expect something coming back. Um, and for to the love, as I say, also to love for fulfillment, satisfaction, or pride is no love. And if you give that into, if you listen that to love for fulfillment, satisfaction, or pride is no love. And I think a
Wow.
lot of us fall into those one of those 3 categories, or maybe sometimes all of them.
Which means our love just totally gets disqualified.
Yes,
Now, the interesting
null
part
and
is
void.
now we know that after each one of these factors, it has been ended off with count your blessing. This
Yes,
time, however, it says count another blessing, count twice.
twice. Yeah,
So that stood out for me, and that is that because of the ability to love and the choice to love is so important, and because God is love, He wants us to have count that as a double blessing.
yeah.
Count
And
twice.
also to add to that, if you read just a little bit above that is when you say is when you give the love selfishly, and you do not receive it back. Don't worry about it, because it will return to you. So
Ah,
you have love to give. Now you've got more returning to you. So that's maybe why they say call it twice, because you have, and then you add the ones that you come back to you and multiply your love as well. I see it as that. It's like the circle
okay,
becoming bigger and you have more.
that is powerful. But I think the biggest thing is when you actually decide to love someone when they do not
Mm,
deserve it. I think of
yes.
many relationships. I'm thinking of a wife listening here tonight said, you speak about love, but you know what? My husband doesn't love me the way he ought to. Well, my message to you tonight is love him anyway. In fact,
Yeah.
uh, I know the statement I say to my children: there's nothing that you can do that will ever cause me to stop loving you. And they went, oh, come on, Dad. I said, no, there's nothing that you can do. It doesn't matter how big a sin it is, doesn't matter how big a disappointment it is, but there's nothing that you will ever do to make me stop loving you. And if
But
that's just how I feel as a parent, I mean, how do we feel about a Heavenly Father that is in charge of the universe, loving us enough for every day the sun comes up and the sun
yeah,
goes down?
yeah,
There's oxygen to breathe. I mean, we forget about the things around us. But tonight we're focusing on just how he's created us, and that really is an eye-opener. Okay, so now
and that's also the reason why I highlighted that thing of to love for fulfillment, satisfaction, or pride. Is that what the line you said now there is? But my husband doesn't love it. That falls under fulfillment and satisfaction and pride. That falls under that, and that is why a wife also when a wife or a husband say that thing or that phrase, they fall under that. They don't know the meaning of love, and they should, I would say, read this and study this a little bit more. When you give out of not receiving, that's real love.
Well, I'm going to pose a challenge to those listening in here and say, if you're the person that decided today you want to make a change in your life, now I want you to type into the bottom to say, I choose to love. No
unconditionally.
Unconditionally. I choose to love unconditionally, no matter what my partner does. Then we know that our time spent here is fruitful and it's broken. Even if it's for one person, it has made it worth our while.
Amen.
Thank you. Daniel, take the next one.
Now it goes from the I would say the thought, the mind to the heart. Is your heart stricken? Does it leak and strain to maintain your life? No, your heart is strong, tough. Touch your chest, feel the rhythm pulsating hour after hour, day and night. 36 million beats each year after year, asleep or awake, pumping your blood through more than 36,000 miles of veins, arteries, and tubing. Wow.
It's just astounding.
Long way to pump.
Now, we know that the heart has got the 4 chambers, okay?
Yes.
And with those 4 chambers, is blood coming in, is blood going out. I can tell you one of the highlights of my life was when I listened to the heartbeat of my child.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a little racehorse. But I tell you, you stand there and you can't talk because you're just so aware that that child that is inside the mother has got
alive.
Its own heartbeat.
They are alive, yeah.
And not the same as the mother's. You know, Daniel, I often ask, people have got the choice to believe or not. And their life of devotion is their choice. But if you look at the forming of a child, if you look at the birth of a child, I find it hard to believe that you cannot see that that's not an accident. Because, you know, an accident, things crash and break away in pieces.
Crash and burn, yeah.
Exactly. However, in creation, it sort of comes together. And if you just think of how a baby is formed and lives in water and it doesn't drown, think about that. The baby grows up in water and doesn't drown until the day that when you get a slap on the behind, now it breathes because now the lungs are open. Accident? Coincidence? I wonder.
That's also interesting that make me think now about the crash and what you say create. A crash is like things spreading apart, exploding out, going outside away. But creating is bringing together of things.
Correct. So with all due respect, there goes a bang theory, goes bang, because it is outsourced into pieces. Anyway, we're not here to compare. We're just here out of gratitude. Okay, so you spoke about the heart is stricken, but I think it's a small passage about something that is so vitally important because the heart has got the depth. It's the heartbeat of the human being.
Yes.
I mean,
life source.
What is the first thing they do when they think that you've passed through? They take your pulse.
Check your heart,
Check if your heart is alive. They didn't check whether your eyes can see. They didn't check if you can breathe.
Or you can hear.
They check if your heart is beating. So this one is actually at the core of the human being in terms of proving that we are alive in a different way.
Also, and the heart is the only muscle that never rests.
That's true. I hope mine doesn't take a rest. Let it keep on going, buddy.
Take a rest.
I need you. Fantastic. Okay, I'll take the next one. Are you diseased of skin? Do people turn in horror when you approach? No. Your skin is clear and a marvel of creation. Now, I think out of all of these, we've just spoken about how unique the heart is. For me, the skin is the numero uno out of all of these wonders of how God speaks to us. Yeah. Because if you think about it, it doesn't leak. I sleep at night. It's not like when I wake up next morning, my skin started leaking and things are leaking out of my body. It contains it within. and the skin rejuvenates itself. You lose some skin and you add some skin. I think this is one of the biggest marvels, that both human and animals have skin that contain that body as part of creation. You tell us, what do you see in the
Yeah,
thing?
that's I mean, your skin is your biggest organ. They say it's the biggest organ in the human body, and it's the barrier between you. It's literally the barrier between you and death. Because if you have no skin, as you said, you start leaking stuff. Stuff comes out that shouldn't come out.
Absolutely.
And also the barrier, it keeps you safe from the germs and the outside, the sun and the wind, the rain. It keeps you safe, your innards safe from the outside elements.
And we find out that the skin actually has got its own breathing apparatus, and that is that when it is perspiration and what have you, it is just such a unique bodily function. At first, I thought the heart is it.
Yes.
I think that is everything, until I started realizing, no, it's actually the skin. Well, that's what impresses me the most. Everybody will look at this in a different way, but for me,
different way,
the skin is the main one, and therefore it can say, count another blessing. We have skin. Take us to the next one.
Are your lungs befouled? Does the breath of life struggle to enter your body? No. Your portals of life support you even in the vilest of environments of your own making. And they labor always and filter life-giving oxygen through 600 million pockets of folded flesh, while each rib your body, or while they rid your body of gaseous wastes.
Yeah.
Count another blessing.
Well, look at that, 600 million pockets of folded flesh, which means that our lungs literally is flesh pack on top of each other. But I'm talking, look at that volume, 600 million pockets. Again, if you and I play with a bit of putty or with clay, and we're building a little man, do we even realize when it talks about, when it makes just the lung, after the lungs is in the inside of the body, how many layers of skin it actually took to do that?
Yeah.
It's actually mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. And now that we realize that we can breathe, what do we say together? Count it. Another
blessing.
Happy. Okay. Then it goes to the blood. It's asking the question, is your blood poisoned? Is it diluted with water at pus? No. Within your 5 quarts of blood are 22 trillion blood cells. Within each cell are millions of molecules, and within each molecule is an atom oscillating at more than 10 million times each second. I can't think it through. It's just too big for my mind. And you know what I want to encourage people to do is to go and write down these numbers and look at them. Look at them with your eyes. And then you will see, when you start writing, each second, 2 million of your blood cells die to be replaced by 2 million more in a resurrection that has continued since your first birth. Guys, 2 million is not a joke, right? 2 million dies, plus 2 million new every single day. That keeps it aside. And as it has always been inside, it's now on your outside. What is he saying? It has always been inside, so now it is on your outside. What does that mean, Daniel? Can you help?
It's like a resurrection. Yeah, I'm stuck with that one. It is always on the inside, so now it is on your outside. I would say it's more like, as it replaces itself in the inside, so you too can replace who you were, or from the death to life.
No, because literally it is inside outside, because it gets replaced. Remember, it talks about blood.
Oh yeah, I understand what you say.
All right.
But
now
then also that maybe can be also with your skin as well, because your skin replaces itself as well.
Yes, it does. And when you get a blood transfusion, they literally can put blood in on the one side and take it out on the other side and replace your blood. But that's all on the inside. But when you cut your flesh, the blood can be on the outside, but it's never intended to be on the outside. It's intended to stay on the inside.
Inside.
Correct. And we know there are so many diseases today that if you do not have blood cells being reproduced, you get red blood cells, you get white blood cells. Well, that's where we get HIV/AIDS from, because you need to have a certain count to remain human and to remain alive. So
Yeah.
again, if you just look at the equation of what percentage of cells must be reproduced on a daily basis, who does that? Do
Yeah.
you actually say to your mind, okay, now I want you to start making blood cells? No, you don't.
Yeah, we're a little bit less on this, or add, but yeah, who keeps the count?
And it keeps on going. It
Yeah.
happens automatically. It's like, yeah, I know, my one friend, she's blonde, so she told the joke. They said basically, if you're blonde, it's like breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That's why so many of them, when they run, wear earphones. She made the joke herself. I said, don't say that. But we automatically breathe in and out. We automatically, if we cut ourselves, we will bleed. I mean, just again, it's just beautiful. You take the next one.
Are you feeble of mind? Can you no longer think for yourself? No, your brain is the most complex structure in the universe. I know. God knows because he created it. I
He
know.
does. And the thing is, we often look at it and we think to ourselves, I'm not good enough. My brain is not functioning the way it should. But, it's something that we can do. We can train our brain. We can skill ourselves. We can actually have personalized learning. If only we are willing to set ourselves out, to set time aside, this brain can be activated per se. Because, a brain that is not used is passive. But the more
Yes.
active it is, the more it will grow, the more it will go to the next level. I mean, I just call it, and he talks about how many senses we have. He speaks about
Yeah,
4
billions of
million,
stuff.
4
Yeah.
million pain sensitive structures, 500,000 touch detectors, 500,000. Hold on. When I take my finger and I point it to you and I just want to touch you and I touch you on the forehead, Daniel, that's one. But it says we have 500,000 touch detectors all over our body. Again, write down that number and then you realize how incredible
How
that
big it
statement
is. Yeah.
It's big. It's big. Oh, man, I don't know. I'm starting just to, it's overwhelming. It actually is
Miracle.
overwhelming. It really
Miracle.
is. Now, what I like there is that how he finishes that section. You are my finest creation. And then he makes a comparison. Within you is enough atomic energy to destroy any of the world's greatest cities and rebuild it. What? Now, we know the power of the atom bomb.
Yeah.
We know what happened in Hiroshima. We saw
Yeah,
the
that was a small
devastation,
one.
and that was a small one. And it says
Yeah.
that we've got enough receptors and energy inside of our body that will destroy the greatest city. And that's inside the body. Now, think of the self-control. How come this body does not explode? How come it contains itself? Who does that? Are you lying in bed and thinking, okay, body, you better control yourself? No, it happens automatically.
Yeah.
The more you read it, the more you realize this is really one of the biggest wonders of the world. And that's why no wonder he says, count your blessing.
That shows you the power that's power with that's the power within us.
Yeah.
God bestowed that power with that atoms or that atomic energy, bestowed it within us.
I often think to myself, I've obviously spoken to agnostics, I've spoken to people who don't believe, and I just say, okay, have you ever cut yourself? Have you seen how your body heals itself? Of course, we put on a plaster, we stop the bleeding, but it heals itself. It's only a matter of time. Of course, medicine is a temporary aid to help us in a time of sickness.
Yeah.
But over and over, the body heals itself because it was built to heal it. But it's the poison in the world, the gases, what we eat, what we consume, that actually makes the body suffer and therefore battle to heal itself.
Yeah. That's so true.
So there we are, number 9. Take us to number
Then you say,
10.
are you poor? Is there no gold or silver in your purse? No, you are rich. Together we have just counted your wealth. Study the list.
Count them again. Tally your assets.
Tally your assets, yeah.
So what I pick up here is that he doesn't spend a lot of time on money because people are so fixated that their lives are only going well where their money rolls in. But it
Yes.
says, can you for a change just take the money away and count on the list. Look at the assets, total your assets. Your sight, you can see. Your nose, you can breathe. Your mouth, you can speak. Your heart, it is pumping. Your blood, it is circulating. And it just goes on and on. And it gives us 10 things that the body can do. I mean, 10 obviously is 10 out of 10. You can't get better
Yeah.
than that, man. I mean, if you just look at this body. And then he speaks about money and he says, don't focus so much on the money. Focus on your assets. Focus on your
What you already
body,
have.
the
Yeah.
way I have just created you. But still then,
Yeah.
Even looking at these 10, what happened? You want to add something to there? I hear you.
Yes, I want to say it's right there at the last say where they say study the list, count them again, tally your assets, because these are things, the 10 things that we talked about. These are the things you already have.
You know,
Some people don't have it.
I just think of the one 500,
Yes.
500 muscles, 200
Yeah.
bones, 7 miles of fiber. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, that is quite something. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the communication. They open those pipes with the wires. It's millions of little wires inside the pipe.
Yeah.
You look
Yeah.
like, how does that ever work? Well, your body is 100 times more complex, and yet it
Yes.
operates all by itself.
Flawlessly.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. But then you take mankind and he starts asking the questions. Why have you betrayed yourself? Now, why do we do that, Daniel? We know about these blessings. We know how great a God we serve. Why have you cried that all the blessings of humanity were removed from you? Because people look around, they look at the physical.
Yeah.
Why
Physically,
I don't have a roof over my head? Why is this going wrong? But he says, you deceive yourself that you are powerless to change your life. And then he gives this big statement. Are you without talent, senses, abilities, pleasures, instincts, sensations, and even pride? Or are you without hope?
Uh-huh.
For me, it's this whole listed, and all of a sudden, hope. I believe if there's hope, we have life.
Yeah.
As long as there's hope, there is life. And here's the truth. Many people sometimes will contemplate, is life worth living? And they'll think of, I'd like to end my life. And I think I speak for myself, but I think every human being sometimes think that life sucks. And I just don't want to be here because it just seems so hard and things aren't working out the way you want to work out. But if you start looking at how intricately this body has been put together and that you are a living, walking miracle, you are the finest creation that he has made. Surely we're focusing on the wrong things. What do you think?
Yeah, we focus. I think most of us people focused on the monetary value of things.
Yeah.
But how much money I've got in the bank, what brand new car I drive, what brilliant house I live in, what yacht do I own, what gold I own, and we forgot the real value that we already have, because I can see. I don't have to pay somebody millions of rands to give me sight. I can hear. I don't have to pay somebody hundreds of thousands of rands to give me ear implants so that I can hear. I'm not talking about my face. I'm not talking about breathe, my lungs, my heart, my liver, all the organs all around that makes your body. You don't have to pay people for that. You already have it. You already have health. You already have the things that God gave you. And we forgot that is the assets that we really have, and we can only build on top of that. Not like, well, I'm scared of everything, and yet I miss the most important things.
Well,
because no matter how much wealth you have, if you're ill, you want to become healthy again.
Correct. You know, but do we celebrate that? I know my mind goes back to this precious wife of mine. You know, we've been married for 30 years this year. And she gets up in the morning, looks at the mirror and goes, morning, you beautiful thing. And at first I used a howl of laughter. And then I realized, hold on, she's manifesting exactly who she is because God made her beautiful. I mean, he said, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made, but she is celebrating it. And you know, the more I listen to that and I look at that, the more I realize she's got it right because she's saying, I am a miracle. Thank you. And she's celebrating, but she's mouthing it. So I think there's a lesson to be learned. Because it says there in the next paragraph, you have so much, your blessings overflow your cup. And I think that's the big thing. Do we even realize we're actually overflowing. Do we realize that?
I don't think we do, because you can only realize that once you've counted your blessings. Most people don't count their blessings, so wouldn't know.
Well, I think that there's that two little sentences in the middle on page 98 that you have to read very slowly. God saying, answer me. Pause. Answer yourself. Oh, not only do we answer him and be grateful, but we have to answer ourselves and to be real with ourselves. Did we tally our assets? Did we really look at and count our blessings? How mind-blowing the body really is. That's
Exactly.
why as you go through this information over and over and over, and you start remembering 500 bones, 200 muscles, 7 miles of fiber, you start understanding the technical and the technicality of keeping this body going. Yet, it happens all by itself.
Yeah.
That to me is big. Okay. What does he then say? What is the comparison? After he said, answer me, answer yourself. What does he talk about?
Then he comes back to what I was referring to earlier. What rich man, old and sick, feeble and helpless, would not exchange all the gold in his vault for his blessings, for the blessings you have treated so lightly?
Absolutely. Because you get to a stage where you will throw all your money at having
Yes.
the health for this body to work. Because you know what? Once it shuts down, you are gone. You are no
Yeah.
more. Absolutely. Now, Daniel, I've actually underlined something here. And it starts with that paragraph that says, therefore I say unto you, count your blessings and know that you already are my greatest creation. It's like an instruction. I
Yeah.
say to you, count your blessings and know that you already are my greatest creation. This is the first law you must obey in order to perform the greatest miracle in the world, to return of your humanity from a living death. I highlighted that for myself because
Yeah.
when you introduced me to this book, that was my first point of realizing, count it a blessing and you are alive. You know, when I went for my 10K jog this morning, yes, I'm getting a little bit older and yes, it's harder, but I'm out there breathing the air, hearing the birds, seeing the pond, waiting for the eagle to squawk. And when I run, I'm just so grateful. And the biggest blessing you can give me is when I actually knocked at the cashier yesterday and I said, hey, I want my pensioner's discount. And she went, oh, no, you no pensioner, no discount. And I went, hey, listen,
You're still
here's
young.
my ID. They refused, Daniel. They didn't give it to me. And you know what? It's because I believe we can live in gratitude and be grateful. And because of that, look after the body. That is, raise yourself from
Yeah.
the living death. What do you see then?
For me, and that little passage is like, yes, that's basically the greatest counting you can do. Is like, yeah, you don't have illness, as you say, you go for a jog, you can still see where you're going, you can still smell the fields around you, you can hear the birds. You still have the muscles and the bones to take you where you need to be, or wherever you jog. And that to me is also a great thing, and a lesson to is like, focus on the things that you have already, and then
Correct.
build upon that. But go into, as you say, take counsel. Go and look at all the stuff you already have, and you'll see you already almost 90% of the way. The things that you need, you already have to be where you need to be.
And look at the comparison you just gave, where you said,
Yes.
look at an old man. He's sick, he's on his
Yeah.
bed. What would he give all the gold
Yes.
in the world to actually just live it again? And then for me, the section sort of starts anyway, says, true security lies not in the things one has, but in the things one can do without. Can we just stop there for a moment? True security does not lie in the things that we have, but in the things we can do without.
Yeah.
Less is more. If
Yeah.
we just start realizing that we have life, you forget about all these other things around you, all of it. And he challenges us. And can you take us through that last challenge? The last on page 98, it starts with where.
Then you ask the question, where are your handicaps and that produced your failure? They only exist in your mind.
ooh, ouch. You know, that's like a shambach that
So it's
only
basically,
existed
yeah,
in
it
your
basically
mind.
says like, okay, now let's look at all of you. You can see, you can smell, you can talk. He lists all those things off. And he says, okay, I tick all the boxes of that. Then he asks you, okay, so now, so where is your handicap? You already ticked all the good things. So where does that exist? And then that last thing is powerful. Only in your mind. It's a figment of your imagination.
It is well. Well, Dan, I don't know about you, and therefore it now sometimes says, count your blessings. I'm just so
Yes.
grateful what this God memorandum is doing for me, how it literally is taking me to the next level. And I would just want to encourage those people that are listening here, and even if you were taking notes, is to revise your notes and go over them again. If you have the book, revise the section and go through it again to realize, count your blessings. I want to thank you so much. Then asking you the last question tonight, and that is, what do you
Yes.
take away from tonight? Go for it.
I would say the biggest thing that I can take away from this is like you can always change no matter what you have, no matter if in these 10 things you have limited of that, you still possess most of the things that other people don't. So you have everything you have for you to be successful. You are a miracle.
And every time I'm on the street and I see somebody without a limb, without a leg, without an arm, I now look at myself differently in terms of I am so grateful that I have what I have. And the thing is to remind myself to remain grateful because it could have been reversed and I could have been me, but I'm grateful
Yeah.
for what I have and to actually live out every single day with gratitude and to realize I need to count it a blessing because I am His miracle. Daniel, I want to thank you for tonight. For the people that are listening to this tonight, take it away, make it your own, and remember, you are deeply loved.